Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. After a few videos about influencer culture, today we are returning to one of my favorite topics, overconsumption. A very timely subject considering the recent Black Friday and the endless wave of TikTok videos showing once again how much waste this event creates. Before we dive in, I want to make a quick disclaimer. Every time I talk about overconsumption, I get comments like, "You're just envious, jealous because you're broke," or "people can spend their money however they want." So let me clarify the purpose of this video right away. This is not about judging how much someone spends. It's about understanding the collective consequences of certain choices. First point, the environmental impact. Overconsumption produces enormous amount of waste. It harms the planet and therefore our future. Second point, the cultural and psychological impact. Videos showcasing massive hauls and compulsive shopping don't stay confined to the creator. They spread, they are imitated, and they end up normalizing a behavior that shouldn't be normalized. And this doesn't just influence spending habits, it affects our minds. Being constantly exposed to content that promotes more, always more, creates chronic dissatisfaction, erodes gratitude for what we already have, and set unrealistic expectations for how our lives should look. So that being said, let's start with the first video.
Here's my Black Friday shopping haul. This haul is definitely smaller than in years past, but I did all my shopping at the Grove, so I didn't get to go to all my favorite stores, but we're gonna start with Addicted because it's definitely becoming my favorite store.
The video has barely started, and the very first words this influencer says already reveal a mindset deeply shaped by consumerism. She immediately points out that last year she bought so much more and that this year's haul is way smaller. But if you look at the opening frame with all those shopping bags in her hands, small is the last word I'd use. Honestly, I would already consider that a huge shopping haul. This is exactly what I mean when I say that consumerism doesn't just harm the planet, it also harms our perception. We've normalized social media hauls so much that something objectively huge feels small. And these huge hauls aren't rare. They are repeated every single year and multiple times a year because there is always a new occasion to buy. Just think about the last 3 months. Back to school, start of fall, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Black Friday. 6 major shopping triggers in only 3 months, which basically means one massive haul every 2 weeks. If everyone consumes this way year after year, where are we heading?
And I guess since I just showed you that Alice set, I should probably show you the shoes that I bought with it. This was so extra. I did not need to buy a whole pair of shoes just for one set. But I've been eyeing the Nike Pegasuses for running and working out for some time now. And do not tell me this is not the perfect color to go with that Aloe set. Like, hello? So yeah, here are the shoes. They're super comfy. Did I need them? Definitely not. But they were 25% off at least, I think.
Then she shows a new pair of shoes she bought solely to match a new outfit. Do you see how unnecessary that is? She even admits it herself. Thankfully, she is aware of it. And regarding Black Friday discounts, people love to justify unnecessary purchases by saying that everything is on sale. But let's be honest. First, if you don't need something, you don't need it even at a discount. Second, the discounts on expensive items are often minimal. A 25% discount on pricey shoes still makes them very pricey.
Next is Aritzia. Talk about an expensive store. I've only ever been in there a few times because every time I go in, I spend too much money. So I only walked out with one thing. Still $100 and I can't return it, but it's this cute little top. I've seen it trendy and I feel like it's cute for going out or something professional. I don't know. I love it. I've wanted it for a while, so I got it.
And then $100, I apologize, for a top. Look, I actually believe that if you buy only what you truly need, it makes sense to invest in quality, even if it costs €100 or dollars. I can't. Oh no, I'm so tired. I'm sorry. I don't have the words. Today I'm not able to speak. I don't know why. I'm sorry. But it doesn't make sense when you are constantly shopping, buying piles of clothes you'll never even get the chance to wear.
Overall, did I need any of this? No. Were the sales that good? No. But at least I got to have a good little retail therapy day.
At the end of the video, she acknowledges two things: that most of what she bought was unnecessary and that the discounts weren't even good. And I'm glad that she acknowledged all of these in our video. But what worries me is the typical justification I hear from so many young people. At least I did a little shopping therapy. If it happens once a year, fine. But if you check their profiles, you'll see they are doing shopping therapy every single week. At that point, I would call it something else. Shopping addiction. I say it with a bit of irony, but I am genuinely serious. It would actually be interesting to study how much social media content that glorifies and normalizes overconsumption contributes to a possible rise in shopping addiction among younger generations. In the long run, I really think it's a real danger. But let's read some of the comments under this video. All this and I can't afford diapers, or I wish I could do this, I can't even afford rent or groceries. I know. And remember, not only do we have 6 big occasions to shop in just 3 months, but these occasions repeat every single year. It took me 2 seconds to find our haul from last year, from the same content creator. One thing I actually appreciate about her, and I'm being serious right now, is that even last year, she was fully aware that Black Friday is mostly just an excuse to buy. Many people don't realize it, but she does. That said, even in this haul, she says she bought the exact same hoodie in several different colors and then bought another hoodie almost identical to the one she's wearing in the video. Do we realize how wasteful this behavior is? I'm not talking specifically about her, I'm talking about everyone, me included. Okay, I'm talking about society in this moment. I'm not attacking her, obviously. She's just an example. In fact, here's another identical example, just with a different influencer. A huge haul this year and another huge haul last year. This proves that this is not an isolated behavior. Even if it were just one person, it would already be problematic. But socially, the impact would be small. Instead, there are hundreds of influencers doing the exact same thing. If I had the time to show you all of them, you would immediately understand how much collective waste this generates and how serious it actually is. These people shop so much and so frequently that they end up buying new clothes before even wearing everything they bought during the previous haul. With such a constant and massive turnover, most of these items inevitably end up in landfills at record speed. In the best case scenario, they are sold or donated. But today, even donation centers receive far more clothing than people actually need. So tons of donated items still end up in landfills. Anyway, in last year's video, she bought a matching hoodie with her friend. And that reminded me of another important point. Especially young people are all buying the same items. It's incredible. There is no personal style, only trends. But if you don't follow your own style, I personally think that you don't form any attachment to your clothes, which is what makes you want to keep them for years, repair them and truly use them. But when you buy only what's trending in that moment, you don't get attached, so you throw it away the moment you're tired of it. The amount of waste generated by this cycle is truly astonishing. Let me show you another example with a different influencer. As always, we start with our Black Friday haul. As you can see, the stores are always the same, but this influencer helps me illustrate how often these hauls happen. This video was filmed 3 days ago, this one 4 days ago, and this one just a week earlier. The frequency is astonishing. There's barely any time between one massive haul and the next.
This is Aritzia. Talk about an expensive store.
But next is Aritzia.
I'm gonna start first with everything I got from Aritzia.
Okay, first store is Aritzia.
For Aritzia. Okay, and then I went to Lulu and Sephora.
And lastly, probably my favorite store is Sephora.
Okay, next is Sephora.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to Sephora.
Let's get started with Aerie.
Okay, next I went to Aerie.
This is Aerie. They are doing 40% off everything.
Starting off with Aerie.
Out for Aerie.
Okay, next is PacSun.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to PacSun.
Yeah, PacSun.
Moving on from PacSun.
But next is Garage.
I got stuff from Garage.
Starting off with Garage.
Okay, next is Victoria's Secret.
And then lastly, I went to Victoria's Secret, and look, I got this free tote bag, and I'm actually like obsessed with this so much. So again, since I spent like a buttload of money, I also got a free blanket.
So I went to Victoria's Secret. They had so many sales. If you spend $150, you got a free tote bag and a free blanket. So I made sure to spend $150. First of all, our tote bag, which is so cute. This is the free blanket that it came with.
And then from Victoria's Secret, I spent so much money. So I got the free tote bag, and then I also got the free blanket, which I didn't know they gave a free blanket if you spent over $150. So I was super excited when she asked me like, oh, what blanket do you want?
This perfectly shows what I said earlier about everyone buying the same things from the same stores. It proves that they are simply following trends, not choosing clothes because they genuinely want or need them. I'm not sure if I'm expressing this perfectly in English, but I hope that the idea come across clearly. The problem isn't the act of shopping itself. The problem is much deeper, and it involves everything that we have discussed at the beginning of this video. The environmental impact, social normalization of overconsumption, and also the psychological consequences. I was hoping this would be a stitch about consumerism. Well, here I am. This is not a stitch, but I'm still here to talk about these topics. In this video, someone comments, "We are looking at $1,090 or over. Wow, girl, you are blessed." And then we have these $1,000 haul in this other video and 2,500 on this other one. And once again, the problem is not the amount of money spent. I feel like I keep repeating myself because I want to explain this clearly. I often receive negative messages from people who misunderstand what I'm trying to say. I'm not blaming them. Honestly, it might just be that I struggle to express these ideas perfectly in English. But in trying to be clear, I end up repeating the same points over and over. Now let's move on to videos that aren't about what people buy, but about how people behave during Black Friday. These clips say a lot about the consumerist mindset that many people have developed and about how strongly they feel the need to buy, to the point of waiting in line for hours, or even arguing and fighting just to get what they want. Honestly, when I see this, I can't help but think it looks like an illness. This is not how normal, healthy behavior looks. They act as if it were a matter of life or death, but we are talking about completely not essential items. No material object that isn't necessary for my survival could ever make me behave this way. It's genuinely embarrassing. Just look at how many people there are. Shopping malls and streets are absolutely packed. It's overwhelming. And then there's this comment. All of this for 20% off? Exactly. So after looking at all these videos, I think that the bigger picture becomes impossible to ignore. Overconsumption isn't just a trend or something that influencers do. It's a system that shapes the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave. It convinces us that buying more will make us happier, more fulfilled, or more impressive to others. But the reality is exactly the opposite. The more we are exposed to this type of content, the more dissatisfied, insecure, and disconnected we become. And again, the issue is not the money. People can spend whatever they want. That's not the point. The point is the massive environmental cost and the psychological cost of normalizing constant consumption as a lifestyle. The point is a culture that pushes us to want endlessly instead of appreciating what we already have. The point is the pressure to keep up with trends that change every 2 weeks, leaving behind a trail of waste that the planet simply cannot absorb. When shopping becomes a personality trait, a coping mechanism, or even a weekly routine, we have to stop and ask ourselves, who is this really serving? Not us, really. Not me, at least, and not you. I can assure you, you can trust me. Obviously, I'm not here to shame anyone, truly, but I'm here to remind you and myself that there is another way to live. If you watched until this point, thank you for being here and for caring about these issues. I'll see you next week. Bye.